Hey, markets are flat. Super boring. Anyway, hi, welcome back to Crypto Talks. My name is Phil, and I'm here solo again because Rob decided to stay in Thailand for a bit longer. But hey, what can you do? It's all fine. But I see there's some people joining in, and that's good. So, yeah, we're doing Tea Monday as usual. Unfortunately, the market has been really boring. And you know, it's not much we can do, but we have seen some of the scenarios play out from last week. And yeah, look, there's Imrain, Rezi, Kavik, Silvio is back. Yakun is here as well. Good to see you guys. Thanks for popping in. And by the way, last week I somehow swallowed a piece of a cat claw or something. And after the stream, I had to finish it up real fast because after the stream, I started feeling it like cutting my throat on the inside. It was not great, but this time we might be able to go a bit longer. And you guys feel free to ask 600,000 questions. Okay, maybe not that many. I won't be able to respond to all of that, but go ahead and ask questions that you might have. Rob Simp. Yeah, and yes, Imre. Rob should be getting some better internet down there. He has actually recorded a video down there in Thailand, and he is going to be uploading. He was trying to upload it today, but it didn't work. The internet was too crappy, so we couldn't upload the video on our channel. But he's gonna try tomorrow, I think he said, because he's traveling to a city where you can get a little bit better internet and try to upload it there. So you'll see what that is. That should be fun. It should be dropping tomorrow. And but yeah, let's jump into some TA here because that's kind of what we're doing here. That's not the window that I wanted. There we go. Okay. So you remember last week we kind of just pulled this trend line. We were kind of right here at the time of the video, and I said I'm just gonna pull this trend line here just to have it there in case it kind of starts going down. And we made the prediction, and also, by the way, we pulled this trend line from this bottom to this bottom, and then we just extended it, and obviously that's kind of played out pretty well. We also talked about how Bitcoin would stay potentially above 69k, which is this green line right here, and we have been playing around with that for quite a bit and kind of staying within that range. That's why I'm saying it's so flat, because the range that it's been toying around in, let's make it from 69 to these peaks here. It's been a 3.5% move up and down. It's been so boring. It's been so hard. I mean, I know that Rob and a lot of other people probably have been accumulating around 69 just to add to their positions a little bit, but it's just failed that today. And I think one of the reasons for that is that we had the RSI on the 1 hourly kind of just sitting up for too long at the top here, and it needed to correct, and it did a violent correction, I guess. And since then, we've broken the 69k, we bounced on the trend line, and now we might be stuck under 69 for a little bit. I wouldn't guarantee that, but the prediction from last week was we're either going to see something like this, right, or we're going to see something like where we touched back on this white, this yellow trend line, right? I'm sure if you were here, you would remember that. And we've actually played out pretty much both of those scenarios, but under a longer period of time. So we've seen this bounce and then up, but then failed, and bounce again and then up and then fail. So we did correct, and we've mentioned this before several times, that in order to reset indicators, you don't necessarily have to go down that far, right? But you can still reset them through kind of just going sideways over time. So if we were to go for, let's say, the 4 hourly here, you're going to see that we've reset from this peak on the RSI on the 4 hourly, and it's been resetting down to the midline, and it's been using the midline to kind of bounce on that on each one of these bounce. Well, obviously, but it's been bounced. So during this sideways move, we started from this peak down to here, and now obviously we failed here and went further down. So the question is, are we going to be looking at some type of break from this trend line in order to reset, the 4-hourly RSI even further down to maybe oversold? Or are we going to even look at the daily here? Because now we do have quite a bit to go to get down. We reset these peaks. It's guys from this one. This is the all-time high here on the RSI, all the way down to the midline, and then we've been sliding across here for a while, basically going sideways in this range right here. Are we going to need to see a rip your mic? Oh no. Did it break? Okay. Oh, it's fine now. So my ugly face testing was like completely unnecessary, and I was just making a fool out of myself. Cool. I'm just gonna continue on as we went. So what I was trying to say is we've been doing the sideways thing. I'm sure you saw that. And right now we haven't broken any type of trend yet. Obviously the first trend that we had, and I'm going to do this on the 1-hourly just to make it clearer. So once we peaked out on the all-time high here, we entered a trend that looked something like this, first of all, right? And then when we finally broke that, we were thinking, okay, maybe we'll create a new trend now that goes upwards. But nope, it just kept on falling down. But then the new trend line ended up being right here, right? Until we broke that. And then we were hoping to see a continuation of an uptrend, right? Which is what we saw with a higher low? Yes, higher low right here. And once that happens and we see this type of move, now we know that we're in the new uptrend, because we broke this downtrend, lower highs, lower lows, to this confirmed the uptrend, right? It's a channel just like the one we had here. The line was something like that. That's a very ugly one, but you see the channel is still there. Now we have a new channel that goes this way, and I'm hoping, and I'm not gonna say I'm hoping for it to crash further down here, because what happens then is, like I said, with this trend line, we had this one, then we broke it, and then we created a new one, and then we created a new one, but those were broken. And so the next thing now is to say, once this trend breaks and we create we start going down from here, then we would say, okay, maybe we want to create this trend line, which means overall we're kind of in a downtrend overall. But this needs to confirm by going down further. Let's just do that, and then flatlining here before it bounces. But what's happened then is that we've created this type of trend, right? And then we have that trend line. It's not very steep or anything, but why not, right? Doesn't it make sense that we get some type of weird correction that fixes the daily? Whoa, that's zoomed in. That fixes the daily RSI trend and everything, to come all the way down like this, to come all the way down before the halving, because obviously people with money, smart money, they don't mind crashing the price down, scaring the heck out of people, making people like you and me and normies kind of dump what they bought here just because they think it's gonna it's over, whatever. It would make sense to me to create this type of maybe even double bottom. Maybe we don't have to see a trend reversal or anything, but if we can get a double bottom, let's see if I can do this nicely here. if we can get a double bottom here, where we just go, oh, come on. There we go. If we just go down like that, and then we start moving in, then we have that bottom, double tap. And maybe that move will be enough for the daily RSI to go down all the way down and bounce. Probably not enough unless we have red candle, red candle, red candle, red candle all the way down, and we just keep getting that harsh dip, kind of like we got here. You see this right here? That moved us all the way from up here down to here, and that's about the same move we need. And so if we just draw just a quick drawing there, and then we grab that line and move it, then yeah, we will get something like a double bottom. And for me, that makes kind of makes sense, even though I don't like to say it. But why shouldn't they do that? Like, why shouldn't the rich people, the people with the money that can move the market, why wouldn't they move the market before the halving? Scare a lot of the weaker hands out, take their Bitcoin, and then pump it, right? Just keep moving it down, keep moving it down. I think funding rates are fairly high again. I haven't double checked this yet, so don't quote me on that. But they're getting higher. I even closed my own long position on Bitcoin around here, because I felt like, it's been open since 60 something around here. I closed it because this type of sideways move and then the funding rates on the futures market, when that starts going up and up and up, because that means a lot of people are longing and longing. They're putting their longs in here. Every time it bounces, they add to their longs. They open new long positions. And then you get these high funding rates. And then you get, kind of grounds for institutional investors or professional investors to say, let's stop hunt those longs, get them out of here, and then move the market up where we can buy the Bitcoin really cheap and open our longs way, way further down. And then just when the halving occurs, maybe even earlier, I don't know. It's not that far. I mean, it's this month. It's about 3 weeks left, something like that, which is 15 trading days for the ETFs. It's not out of the cards to kind of just scare the heck out of people by going sideways. Oh, it's stuck with under a lower high, and then just go completely down and then just make it double bounce on the bottom. I think I have a pretty good, if I go to Solana just real quick, don't mind this stuff, but when we were trading, when Solana did its initial pump after the let's see if I remember where we are with this. Here we go. Here's an example of kind of what I'm talking about. It's not exactly the same, but this is back in November last year. And Solana had this massive pump from, I don't know, it pumped massively. It went all the way up to $60, and then it failed. And it did this kind of, it scared people out, and then it giga-pumped, and then it kind of scared people out. We had this trend, the uptrend, and then we got the lower high, and then it wicked down and did this double bottom thing right here. You'll see it if I just do that. So we got this double bottom, and then this slow chugging up and down. But then eventually, I'm gonna move that. It went on another ballistic, another gut-wrenching pump, right? And now, finally, we are where we are. But I remember trying to trade that, and I messed up. I messed up my Solana trade a little bit, so I lost some Solana overall. But what I'm trying to say is, if we're getting some type of move like that now, where we get a lower high, get a double bottom somewhere around here, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But that also means, we've already done the double bottom, kind of, because we've had this liquidity hunt right here, the stop hunt, just before it broke the all-time high the first time, and right there. So we're sitting on basically a double bottom already. But I don't know if people want to say that this is not a downtrend. This is a liquidity hunt. It's just completely shit the bed and then pump right back up like nothing ever happened. But this, a downtrend and then bounced. No big, huge wick or anything like that. It happened in stages right here. We had big one. Well, actually, we had a huge one. Big one up and down. A little bit here, a little bit there. And then after that, it started just downtrending because they scared people out of the markets, basically. And people started selling and thinking, okay, now we started this downtrend. So people started selling. And this is probably where institutional buyers went in, right? And now we're trending up, and then we get stuck under this invisible roof. Like there's not really anything there except for just this type of volume right here. So sitting here is kind of a weird thing. Yeah, we're bouncing on 69K, but it wouldn't surprise me if the professionals were to sit down right now and just say, you know what, let's make it hit its head right here. Actually, I'm going to zoom in just to make it a little bit more clear. Here we go. It would make sense to me to see kind of boring, hit your head on the old, support that we had right here, and then just say, okay, let's crack this trend line, and it will go until it finds some type of support. And where would that be potentially? Well, maybe it wants to bottom around here again, scare some more people out, and then suddenly we're much closer to the halving, right? It doesn't have to be this steep. It could be much more boring than that. It could be, we could see something like that. Boring, super boring, bottom, and then go, right? That could be what we're going to see here. I'm just making things up right now, okay? Don't sit here and think, oh, this is going to happen. This is a scenario. This is what we do. We do scenarios. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't want to be too bearish or anything. Gosh, I draw too much. I don't want to be too bearish on anything here, because obviously overall, the market is in a huge uptrend. This is the daily. I mean, this little noise that we're experiencing right now, yeah, it feels like it's taking forever, okay? Especially when we've gone through these giga pumps up and up and up, and then it just slows down and becomes boring. Daily was super overbought. We have corrected to the midline. The only real question I have, do we need to correct down and get this type of RSI, for example? And I'm using the RSI a lot here, right? Because the RSI is very good at, every time we've had a bottom out on the RSI, it's been a very good opportunity to buy, right? We're looking at this there. We're looking at this right here. That's right here. We're looking at, well, this is not oversold, but we're looking at that kind of bottom there, and that's right here. It doesn't have to go all the way down, but if it does, that would be great. I mean, it sounds dumb to say, but it would be really great for the market if Bitcoin can go and double bottom here at 61K, 60K, whatever. Let's say 61K, and the RSI can get much closer to being oversold. Well, that means that, last time we were down here on red, and it went all the way to the peak and stopped going up. We went, well, let's use this as an example. It's easier. So the whole Batman thing, right? We were already topping out on the RSI here, right? Right here. And then it continued when the RSI was still topping out, creating this Batman thing that we keep laughing about. But it's like, if we can go all the way down here and start from basically the red spot, oversold on the daily RSI, well, then it wouldn't really be that difficult to get to the 100K mark, which is our first real resistance, where it's like, okay, this is where it might actually fail into a big retest, right? So I'm not sure what to say here, but it's boring right now. But if you're trying to trade this market right now, like, be careful, because we don't know. Everything is kind of neutral right now. Daily is neutral, sort of. We're kind of stuck. We are on support, yes, but if it fails that, there's not a massive drop to get down to, whatever this might be. And, looking at the day on the 1 hourly, and seeing this little trend here, this is a very short-term trend, right? This is why we keep saying you got to zoom out, because this little trend here is quite insignificant. By just going to the 4 hourly, we have so much further to go down before we fail the previous bottom right here. I mean, it's all the way down at 62K essentially. So even if we went down here and bounced somewhere around 64, 63, whatever, we're still in an uptrend. That would leave us with that kind of an uptrend, right? Well, yeah, we don't want to see that. We want to see bounce here, but don't expect too much. Just keep your eye on this right now, because we're under the 69K mark. We are under all this support that it kept building here. We are on the trend line. Trend lines are, I don't like trend lines. They just give me the trend drawn out on the charts. I don't expect things to bounce on trend lines. I expect things to bounce on flat lines. So what we can do, we can go on the hourly just to make it easy and start drawing some potential areas where we can bounce if we do break this trend line. Let's do a horizontal ray, and let's take the first thing that we can find. I'm going to zoom out here just to make sure that it's not lined up with anything else. But let's say this one, very short term, and that lines up with where we are right now. So that's confluence. It's very weak confluence, but it's basically double bottoming this one too. We do have some more stuff. I mean, this one, sure. I don't think that lines up with anything in particular. Yeah, we have some bottom here, but I mean, that's it. And then we have, I don't want to, I mean, all these are really, really short-term things. So I don't put too much strength into these at all. But there's plenty of stuff there, right? But I do think that if we break this trend line, people take them seriously sometimes. Yeah. We might have to see it go down all the way and triple bottoming here. I mean, why not? I kind of like that. I would like to see that happen, because that would really put people in this bearish mindset. Wait, that's the wrong one. The fear and greed index needs to come down a little bit. It's been hovering around greed and extreme greed for, well, a while. Last month was still at 70 plus, right? So seeing this calm down a little bit, if you go back a year, I mean, you can see how long it's stuck in these areas sometimes. And I just think it needs to cool down a little bit. I've been saying this. I think we said this when we did our weekly TA thing, and we looked at the daily. What we did say during a live when we just got up here, we said if we break this, we wouldn't be surprised to see us bounce. And you would remember this if you were here. We wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of sideways ranging here, because we have two big tops here, right? A bunch of volume, a bunch of retail coming in, a bunch of people that probably bought these tops previously a long time ago and just held on to it all the way down here, and they might want to take some profits on just whatever they accumulated down here, just to lower their cost basis. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that bought here and just decided that, okay, I'm just going to get out of the market now because I'm plus minus zero. I don't like Bitcoin. It's too volatile. I'm going to get out. I'm plus minus zero or slightly in profit. I'm going to get out, right? And like I said, we would expect to see this type of sideways ranging here. I think, if I remember correctly, we were kind of discussing a wherever it went type scenario from the peak to seeing some kind of move within that range approximately, just sideways until we got to the halving. If you were here and you remember me saying that, please say so in the chat. It would be fun to see if I'm actually just delusional or if I remember correctly. But I did say that we would probably range here, and we're doing that, and I'm watching it and I'm bored. It's boring. I don't I don't want it to go sideways. It's just boring. For me, it's either go down hard for a while, get rid of all the weak hands, or just pump like mad. Sideways is super boring. It's just boring. I'm sorry. Maybe you're suffering right now because you're trying to find a good entry. I know someone in this chat is trying to find a nice entry, and if we could get this double bottom all the way down to 61k, let's say, and it actually bounces, I am sure that this person that I'm talking about would finally be able to get into Bitcoin without, it's a blessing in that respect, to see this happen. If you can buy down here somewhere in this little bottom 10%, 15% of this range, then, and you're trying to accumulate, then yeah, I'd be super stoked for that, right? But yeah, and the entire market is red thanks to Bitcoin, and I'm not really expecting this to break. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just preparing for the worst, sort of. But I'm not personally expecting it to break. It might, and I might have to eat my words here, but it's just such a nice, you make a trading channel, you make everything reset going sideways, right? Then you break support just towards the end, just to touch that line, and then you make it go sideways, and then you move it. I like that. That sounds like something out of a movie almost, like up, down, up, boring, 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 scare people, go, right? So this might be enough. We might see this might work. But yeah, I still, I don't want to be too, I don't want people to sit here and watch this and say, oh, I'm gonna buy here, and then it just goes. But hourly RSI reset, 4 hourly still has a little bit to go. If you even look at the 15, it's already been bottomed out. And this is actually, for those of you who don't know, when you get this type of thing, where you get a bottom and then a lower bottom like that, and you get an RSI right here, and then a higher RSI higher up, that's a bullish divergence. But please keep in mind, this is on the 15 minutes, okay? 15 minute. Maybe it will do some stuff sideways and just completely forget about this bullish divergence, because it's the 15 minute. Let's not kid ourselves here. The 15 minute doesn't have that much strength. We do have sort of that down here with a double bottom on the RSI with this. I don't know. I kind of want to see that dump. I'm not gonna lie, now that I'm really thinking about it, because we do have this on the daily, which is where I usually look. We do have this kind of almost confirmed downtrend right here on the daily. We do have a engulfing red candle, so this candle right here is engulfing this green one. It's much, much larger, and if it doesn't close above 69.6, that's going to be closing as an engulfing red candle, which is a bearish signal. It's a small bearish signal, but it's still there. And if it closes under this 69k, which is, it's been having support from for over a week now, yeah, we could see this kind of topple over a little bit. And then the real question is, are we going to see, are we going to see it come down to like here and about? Whoa, what's going on with that? I'll have to zoom in a little bit. That was ugly. Are we going to see something like just come down here and then bounce, you know, keeping that uptrend intact. That's a very perfectly straight line, right? Or are we going to see this thing kind of continue? Let's say it goes there and double bottom and then go, right? That's the double bottom scenario right there. Or are we just going to see it go here? I mean, tell me what you guys think. I know you guys are doing your own TA as well, but I'm seeing a potential for all three scenarios to play out. Personally, kind of hoping for this to break. Not gonna lie, it just plays better in my head. We don't want to be all the way up here when the halving happens. The market kind of wants it to just go completely poop its pants, and then when the halving happens, people will pump it because it's the halving, right? Maybe. Yeah, I do like that scenario. Even if if you count this, that would be a triple bottom. And that's kind of rare because, I mean, if it goes there and it doesn't hold that, I mean, the closest we can get is something like the 53K mark. Wouldn't that be fun? Right? Just a complete crash, and from the top, that would be a correction of 28%. We haven't seen that in a while, so why not, right? From the peak to the double bottom, if we do that scenario, that's a 17% correction. That's something that Bitcoin does all the time. It's not even a big deal. It's like we'll have to wait and see, guys. I'm sorry, like, I don't know what else to say. Something that I do want to mention though before I go anywhere else, I'm gonna go turn the Bollinger Bands on, zoom in on the and zoom in on the daily, and we're seeing is the Bollinger Bands obviously act as all the lines in the Bollinger Bands, especially the mid one, acts as a support or resistance depending on where you're coming from. And just so happens that the daily Bollinger Band has just given us a little bit of a bounce, as it seems right now, right? We're still in an uptrend, like I said on the hourly there, and the 4 hourly, we're still in an uptrend. It's still showing us that uptrend here. We haven't broken that yet. The first signal that would be broken to me would be if it does fail, this trend line, and at the same time it fails this Bollinger Band. When things break in under or over and close a candle under or over the Bollinger Band, it tends to want to kind of go to the bottom sometimes, right? And so if we do see that, the Bollinger Band will start turning down, and that's normal. I don't really use the top and bottom, it's just the midline there. But if it breaks that, I mean, the next candle after that would be very red, I would say, right? And so, but that doesn't mean it will just continue on going down. We could get this type of reaction, right? Fails the trend line or fails the Bollinger Band, goes completely, bonkers straight down, and then the market responds with, buying opportunity, and we get the other way around. So we'll just have to wait and see for this one to play out. I'll probably wake up tomorrow and see where this trend line has taken us, if it's bounced us or if it's just gonna let it fall through. I mean, what happened here was a correction with a bounce on support. We came up, failed the Bollinger, actually, sort of, came down, and we bounced. And why not just see this happen again? We just sliding in here, fail that, and then go down again, right? I'll draw it out to you, right? Why don't we see that? You know what I mean? That would make sense to me. Come down, go up, fail that, and fall over. Why not? Or maybe I'm completely wrong and the hourly RSI bottoming out like this is enough to make it move up again. But then it would have to test this trend line. And then after that, it would have to test sort of, I guess, this range right here. So there's confluence there too. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm expecting an upwards move here, but I'm kind of hoping for a failure. That's just me. I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. I'll see if there. I'm sure there's been questions, but when I start talking, I get into this stuff so hard, and I just can't stop. So let's see if we have any. Okay, this one stands out to me, and yeah, obviously I'm smart. Big brain Swedish guy. Thank you. And what has happened in the previous halvings? Well, David, you wouldn't normally look at the halvings and say, oh, we're gonna get a, as soon as the halving happens, we get this giga pump right away. That's not really how that happens. I'm gonna see if I can find the rainbow charts, which is a funny looking chart, but it's quite good at giving us a good picture of what we're getting here. So I'll just show this to you. Here it is, and I'll remove your question there. So what this is this is the rainbow chart, and then we have all these lines right here. That's the halving. So what's happened is, over back in 2016, it came to the halving and then dropped after, but then the halving started having some type of impact on the market, and we started this big move up for like a year and a half or something like that. Last time we had the COVID crash, and then we were kind of in an uptrend already. And eventually, you see how it's flat there in that area. It's kind of flattened out, and then it goes. So it probably will need some time, and you can see it here too. Right after the halving, flat. After the halving, flat, and then crash. Flat, and then pump. So here we might see the halving just give us that. Oh, the halving, and then just flat, right? So what we could see, like I said, if we go to the halving and we have time to reset all the indicators down for a while, so that we do get that springboard kind of built up that we can bounce off of, then yeah, we might see, a pump after it. I don't think it's not gonna happen right away, right? It's Bitcoin might be moving around 70K here for a while. Like it's already been a while. It's been I don't even know how long since we kind of got to this range. I'll say that the range is right here when it first tested the all-time high, and so far it's only been a month of sideways. The weekly is still, just looking at the Bollinger Bands, for example. I don't normally do that on the weekly, but just looking at them, like the Bollinger Band midline is all the way down at 51K. If we go sideways here for a couple of more weeks, let's say 2 more months, maybe. Let's just say that we carry on until end of May before it starts doing something. That will give, first of all, the weekly RSI will have time to come down, calm down a little bit, get closer to that midline on the RSI on the weekly. It will also allow the Bollinger midline to kind of creep up and come back in here while this is moving sideways, and just kind of finally meet up like it did right here. For example, you saw a couple of weeks slightly down, and then eventually it got to the Bollinger Band, and it also moved from sort of an oversold state back down to the midline. So this is what we're kind of expecting. We need these longer term time frame things to kind of reset a little bit. Looking back over here, you see the same type of pump after the bear market, and the halving happened right around here. But you saw this oversold territory on the weekly. It needed time to correct down, and in this case, it was correcting downwards to kind of reset. But we could do that, the same thing, to reset to the midline just by moving sideways here. Like super boring. 60K, 73K, 60K, 73K. That's still sideways. Okay, that's gonna reset the longer time frame stuff. If you even look all the way to the monthly is still up there, right? I don't think we need to reset the monthly that much, because we're not that overextended like we were during the last peak right here. And if we look at the BLX, which is a much longer term, oh gosh, the Bollinger Band really messed this up, doesn't it? There we go. Looking back in time, we had these the RSI swing on the monthly go up, very high before it even turned. So this one was at 97, this one 97, this one 92, and right now we're only at 77. So we still have a lot of months to kind of go upwards until we get to that point where it's like, okay, even the monthly RSI is now like topping out in a massive way. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a couple of weeks where we're just boring. Let's see, this is the wrong one. There we go. Oh, okay. There we go. So if I just hide all the drawings here, just look at it clean. Like, this is a month of sideways. That's what it is. Or even a month and a week if you count this one, but I wouldn't. But you're seeing this weekly massive wick up, massive wick down. That's a doji candle. It means market hasn't decided whether or not we should be going up or down with this candle right here. Then we had kind of a test to see if the market actually wanted to go down. Sort of. We've got this massive hammer candle, which is where you have a small top candle body and a huge lower wick. And that's very bullish, and that's probably one of the reasons why we got this green engulfing weekly candle. But the market is, everything else is very much, like I said, the RSI, the Bollinger, everything is very much overextended. It needs to slow down. It just so happens that it's doing it coming up to the halving, and people are freaking out on what to do here. Technicals don't really play that much of a role when the fundamentals are extreme, right? And what we can do is expect things to be uncertain, which means sideways, right? What do people do when they don't know what to do? Well, they do nothing, right? And then you have traders coming in and trying to trade the swing up and down, and that holds everything in place, right? There's no massive sell-offs. There's no massive buying happening because everything is overextended. But the market also knows that fundamentally we're extremely bullish right now, right? So when you have fundamentals saying up, 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 and you have a lot of technicals and a lot of traders not sure what to do because it's very risky to buy when it's overextended like this. So instead they do nothing. I'm doing nothing. I'm accumulating a little bit and doing some small trades, but I'm not doing anything meaningful, right? Nothing meaningful is going on here. I'm not placing a meaningfully large buy order somewhere, right? Because I don't know if it's going to hold or not. And so that's what we're seeing, right? And I do just think that the weekly might have to be the thing that resets a little bit. Maybe we just need to reset down to like we did here, right? We get a big pump right here. Then we go sideways for a couple of weeks, and the RSI says, okay, calm down. Get to within the range where it's like not officially overbought, and then we can move on, right? We got this wick right there. We might get one of these in a couple of weeks, just after the halving. We get one of these big dumps or whatever, and then we can move. Maybe. So I would expect the weekly RSI to kind of go, and then we can go. I don't know if that makes sense to all of you, but in my book, that's sort of what needs to happen, even if the fundamentals are extremely bullish. So I hope that answered your question, David, with your the halving question. Yeah, Ken says halvings are weird. Just wait for years for it, and then crazy things happen. That's weird to me. Well, so yeah. It's not. It's a weird market dynamic, is what it is. Because previously we've had these massive moves after the halvings. because the fundamentals of Bitcoin improve. The halving improves the argument for Bitcoin every time it happens. Inflation of Bitcoin is split in half. That's essentially what happens. And that means you double the scarcity. Well, not double, you don't double the scarcity, because obviously Bitcoin, there's already almost 19,800,000 Bitcoins in circulation or something like that. But having the supply that's coming into the market, the stock to flow ratio is lowered significantly, which improves the fundamentals of Bitcoin, which makes it more scarce, like instantly, right? And that's a good thing, but it usually takes a while for that supply to kind of disappear. And I don't think the halving has that much of an effect on the market fundamentally anymore. I argued for this before. I might even write an article about it. Speaking of which, I did write an article very recently. I showed it to some of you guys, and I'm going to release that on our Medium page, which we're currently setting up. So we're going to start writing some articles that you guys can read. But the halving probably won't have much effect on the market this time around, because the ETFs are eating up the supply so much faster than removing. We have 900 Bitcoins coming to market every day now, and having that down to 450, when we know that just the American ETFs are buying thousands and thousands of Bitcoin per day into an ETF, which usually means they buy it to hold it there forever, right? Pension funds and all these type of things might be adding this to their portfolios. And just removing 450 from that equation, when you know that there's one wallet that's buying hundreds of Bitcoins each day to hold, we're looking at the ETFs buying thousands each day. So removing that small piece of what's being gobbled up every day, it's like, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Over time, it's going to make a big difference, but not like on the day. It's not going to be like, oh, having today, Bitcoin pumps 94%. No. So, and Dave says he will quote me. Yeah, you can if you want, but I haven't promised that I'm right about anything, so it's fine. How do you see when the 8 hour exactly when it closes? Well, if you look at the candle, I'll just super simply do this. I'm just gonna do it on the 4 hourly because I want to. But it's just look when the candle opened, right? And then kind of just extend it by 8 hours, right? That's how you would do that. But yeah, that's shouldn't be any harder than that. I know which times the 4 hourly and all that stuff closes, just because I know when they usually do it. So, but in some, yes, it's an easy answer. But in some exchanges like KuCoin, for example, you can right-click on the price scale on the side, and you can ask it to add the time to when the candle closes. So, like for example, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but right here, where it says on the price, where the price is currently, it says under it 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 46 seconds until candle close. So you should be able to see that on TradingView. On some exchanges, you don't have that, but you can usually just click right on the scale on the side and add that to it, like time to candle close, or show time to candle close, something like that. So if you're trading on KuCoin or Binance or whatever, you can usually do that. So there's that. But yeah, I think we're done for today. I did extend this one further than I was expecting. Last time we did like a 25-minute thing, and today I don't know. I don't stop talking sometimes, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm gonna jump into the Discord right after this, and I'm sure there's already some people in there hanging out. So if you're watching this and you've never been here before, join the Discord. Follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and the notification bell. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Twitter or X, and it's all down here in this thing that floats around. And yeah, and expect a video tomorrow because Rob will hopefully be able to upload his video, which is, by the way, if you remember from Friday, I think we did a stream where we did a live hangout like this, but more of just a hangout, answering questions, all these things. He watched it and he said, that's a cool video about the portfolio structure. And that was my take on it. So he's done his own take from on a balcony in Thailand. So rubbed in our faces, sitting here in the cold, rainy, semi-snowy Sweden. But yeah, so expect that tomorrow, hopefully. If it doesn't come up, oh, too bad. We'll do a Friday hangout stream this week as well. I think it was kind of fun, and I know people were asking me to do that again, so we'll do that. Right, I'll see everybody in Discord, okay? Cheers.